between Rollins, between the high-tech industries here. You know, there are a number of ways to look at this. And is it a public utility issue? Is it a private-public partnership? Do we let private industry come in and do this and perhaps enable us to speed up our undergrounding because they're doing a project along with us? We haven't gone out and done the RFPs. We haven't brought the proposals in-house yet. But I think we all agree that this is something that has to be done in order to meet our future technology needs. Now, I think there's always opportunities for partnering. And if there's a way for us to partner the undergrounding of our utilities along with the fiber optic backbone and help split that cost, then that's a tremendous thing for the city. There are plenty of projects that take place in that manner, and I think that that's what we should be reaching out to do.
Yes, hold on.
Hi, I realize I'm not the smartest person on city commissioners, and this is actually my first debate. What do you both envision as far as what the city can better do to support education all the way from the elementary schools up to the high school? And I realize maybe this is something better set for an educational board, but in the military, my understanding is some of those funds actually do go towards the Winter Park educational facilities. Thank you.
I think he should get props for standing up in his first debate. That's what I think. Thank you for the question. Go ahead.
Absolutely, and you know, as we talk about, yes, Orange County Public Schools is the primary body that looks at curriculum content and how we're delivering education and everything else. But, you know, we're truly blessed here in Winter Park. We have Valencia, we have Rollins, we have the Orange County Public Schools, we've got private, public, we've got a tremendous mix of it. Building tomorrow's citizens is all about making whatever opportunities we can. And I talked about it already, whether it's anti-bullying campaigns, whether it's civics, citizenship campaigns, that's probably one of the proper roles for the city to play in that. Also, partnering with the schools to expand our access to athletics fields. That's something that's been talked about in the past. It's something that I, as a father of a 10-year-old who plays soccer, knows that there's a lot of demand there that perhaps we can't meet. And there are smart ways to be doing that as well. But we don't control the curriculum. We're not going to be able to do that. But bringing together all the forces that we have here in a truly collaborative way, because we have tremendous people in early education over here at Rollins, and having them come in and figure out how we can get together with Orange County Public Schools and support building better citizens for tomorrow, I think that's the right role of the city.
So, from the city supporting education perspective, again, I will go to, you know, we've been a great partner at Showalter Field. It's a lot of civic city pride. We've helped Orange County out there. Rollins was a big help in that also. They're a big help within our community. When you ask what we can do different, you know, there's a lot of discussions now about how school's going to be at the federal level. And so we need to kind of see what those plans are and how those things are going to work. One of the things we've done as a commission, I'm proud to say, is we've increased funding for the day nurseries here in town, where they're starting with the young children. And a lot of those people that are being helped are lower income families. So for me, you know, I got on the Glenridge Middle School SAC, which is the School Advisory Committee, and to have a difference. And so I think it's the people that can get out and make the difference, and then the library itself with, you know, the new proposed building and the things that the library does. I was here where they were giving awards to the folks in the high school. So it's really, you know, education is very important to everyone in Winter Park. And so it's just, but being able to get people involved and, you know, having good mentors for children to work with. And so to me, it's just always keeping it out there that education is important. The City Commission, we can always bring things up. We always talk at the end. A lot of folks aren't there anymore at the end of those meetings, but we do make little notes about this happened at the school, this is going on at the school, and we try to get people involved in school functions.
Thank you.
I had lots of cards up there. I know there must be other questions. You got one? Okay.
Yes, this goes to Mr. Naylor. I am a lifelong resident, nearly lifelong resident of Winter Park. I'm a homeowner and I'm a native Floridian. So I've seen all the changes that have taken place here in Winter Park. The density of buildings, the out of scale, you've talked about that in your flyers. But I have to say that I have concerns when I got your flyer today from the real estate PAC. That did not leave me feeling confident that you're going to be working to truly protect what little is left, in my opinion, of the small town character of Winter Park, because so many historic buildings and homes have been destroyed at this point, and giant mega mansions are in their place. So clearly you can see where my bias is. But I would like you to talk a little more about that, because that does concern me when I got this giant flyer in the mail today from the PAC, and I'm concerned about that.
I certainly understand, and I've said from the outset, you know, the primary reason I decided to run is my 10-year-old daughter. I want her to have a great city to grow up in. I want her to have the type of city that I grew up in. And the type of city I grew up in was faced with the exact same type of challenges that Winter Park is going to be faced with. And it was one of the few in Northern Virginia that managed to keep green space, that managed to keep lakes, that managed to keep a small town feel. You know, that takes long-term planning in order to do it. Now, I'm not a real estate investor. I'm not a developer. I don't work with any of them. I don't derive any money from them. I've said that I'm going to give the entire salary up to charity. I have no conflict of interest in any of this because I don't partner with anyone. I come from a history and a background of service. I was honored to be able to serve all over the world, wherever the Navy wanted me to serve, wherever the country wanted me to serve for 28 years. I've never had my integrity questioned on that. I've never done anything here locally that would lead anyone to believe that I have a partnership. I've never bought anything other than my house here. I don't have any investment properties. You know, I'm used to being judged on what I do as opposed to what somebody thinks I might do.
I am by no means impugning your integrity. What I am asking specifically is, once I saw this flyer, does this mean that you have a bias toward large development, even though you've said you don't, and to the, you know, high density and large scale development?
Absolutely
That
not.
is my
I think one of the key things that we need to do is protect the integrity of the city core. You know, the feel is because of how it is today. And is a lot that has a 1,500 square foot house on it right for an 8,000 square foot house? Absolutely not. Might it be right for a 2,500 square foot house because somebody wants to knock down a single story and build a 2-story and that's what their property rights allow? Well, absolutely. But then, even more importantly, it does get into big projects. Is it in the right scale and scope for the neighborhood? I've been very clear on this. If there's something that is just completely out of scale, out of scope for the neighborhood, it's not something that I'm likely to vote for. You can't do a quid pro quo to anyone and say, if you vote for me, I won't vote for this. You have to have a reference framework and say, okay, are there other 3-story buildings around anywhere in the near vicinity? If there's not, it's probably not the right place if the zoning doesn't already allow for it. It's really a pretty simple process to go through. But I think what businesses really look for is predictability, that they know when they come in, the property rights as they are going to be what's expected, and they shouldn't be asking for anything out of the ordinary because they're not going to get it.
Okay, Commissioner, hold on a second. Sorry, we have to move on. I just want to give you a moment to also respond to your stance on the rights of property owners.
Yeah, you know, 2 years ago in the debates, I had explained to people that property rights is a double-edged sword. You have the rights of the people that own the property, and the neighbors have rights also. And so it's really, there was a lot of rancor and a lot of discourse when I got elected 2 years ago, but what I've been able to do is get neighbors and developers to talk to each other about the projects. There's not one developer that comes in or one builder that comes in and says, you know, I want to build a bad project. In their mind, their project is a great project, okay? But in the neighbor's minds, it may not be such a great project. So instead of having, getting a project shoved down their throats, what I've gotten is the neighbors have been able, and the developers are now talking ahead of time. They're ironing out a lot of the issues that they have. And, most of the developers are happy to make the concessions that they're asking for. And to me, that's what smart development is smart development is having people talk through the projects, talk through the issues, and just communicate on it. And so then at the end, what I try to do also is I will try and add some value to those projects because of my background, because I understand what they're doing. And, I'll give you an example of one where they were going to put a duplex right next to a single-family home to have the zoning change. I asked them, well, they also had a single-family unit in there. I said, well, why can't you put the single-family unit next to that single-family home so it looks more like the neighborhood that people are used to? And that developer was happy to do that, to make their project work and make it work for the residents within that area. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take one more question before closing. Is that okay? Okay.
I live on the north end of Winter Park, off of Via Tuscany. There is a memory care that was initially approved by Planning and Zoning, and it's on Howell Branch and Temple that will cause a lot of traffic, and it's a 3-story facility with very limited parking for the employees and the patients, and that is going to be a problem. It's being built on wetland right now. It's going to encroach on the lake that is there right now. If any ambulance or fire truck has to be there at any time, it will really cause a problem at that corner because it's just going to. What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to approve that? It does not conform with Winter Park. What are your feelings?
Yes, no, I'll speak to your question. And it's a very good question. And this is one of the, this is one of the smart development items that we've been struggling with at the city. And I actually attended the planning and zoning meeting the other night because this was an important project. And I knew there were a lot of people that weren't in favor of this project. And so I wanted to hear the story directly from the applicant. And on this particular project, and why the P&Z voted the way they did, is there's what could be built and what is being built. And a lot of times on the commission, you have to weigh those. So I won't tell you how I feel about it now because it's coming to me and I'm going to look at it in great detail. But what I will do is I will look at the concerns that the neighbors have and I will see if those concerns can be addressed. When you talked about the fire and the ambulance, they already addressed that by putting in a U-turn so that it can come in and turn back out. And so some of these items they've looked at. But, there's also the trees. There's a lot of historic trees on that site. But you know what? They've got the right to do something there. So it's to get into it and understand it and then make a good decision. That's what, the smart development to me is. I will listen to the residents. I'm hearing your concerns today. I'll listen to the other concerns. And I'll also meet with the people that are doing the project. And I'll go through it with them. And I'll try to see, is there an area that are there still areas that can be addressed that can help the residents' concerns? Or, if you just ask us to vote no on it, what might come in there is a 100-square-foot condominium complex, which is going to be much larger. So it's a very interesting project, and one of the things they pointed out is at the memory care that people don't drive. So you have 56 residences, but no one has a driver's license. And I do understand, I'm not trying to make light of it, but it is an important issue. And to just sit here and say I'm not going to do one thing or the other, it's hard to do.
I'm very aware of the situation. I've met, walked, talked with probably a couple hundred of the residents up there. And I absolutely understand. And the process that this has gone through, where what was told to come back and that's not what came back, is troubling. Again, as I said, this was exactly what I was referencing in my previous discussion. It would be absolutely wrong for me to say, if you vote for me, I'll vote against this. I could never do that ethically. It's not the right thing to do. I will go back to exactly what I said. We need to look at the scope and scale. Is it right for that neighborhood? I have certainly heard the residents of that neighborhood loud and clear. Depending on what's proposed, I will vote in exact alignment with those core values of what is right for scope and scale of the neighborhood. I talked about it, not just this question, but early on in the debate, because that is the right thing to do, and that's how we preserve the character of Winter Park.
Okay, I believe that we can begin with closing statements. Commissioner, you went first. So Mr. You get to
close if he starts.
Again, thank you very much for keeping that. Military guy, clearly. That's great. Okay, so Commissioner, please, with, I believe we're supposed to do a minute, right? 2 minutes? There's no, thank you. See, everybody's keeping me on my toes. 2 minutes, please, Commissioner.
You know, one of the things that I truly believe with me is that God does put me in the right place at the right time and ask me to do certain things. And a lot of people ask me in this campaign, how can I, put up with all the things that are out there? How do I deal with it? And I'll share a simple story with you, is how, I learned from the example of somebody else. Is the Sunday after the shootings in Charleston, we went and took our family to the African Methodist Episcopal Church downtown where Reverend Williams speaks. And you know what Reverend Williams did in that entire service? Is he prayed for the guy that shot those people, that he would find Jesus and that he would live his life the right way. And so that's what I try to do, is I try to live my life the right way and lead by example. And so since I've gotten involved in the politics, I've tried to show other people that you don't have to be a politician to be in politics. You can be yourself, you can be a civil engineer, and you can just try to make the right decision and get things done. And so a couple weeks ago, I was put in the right place again when I went to the Baptist church where they were opening their new remodeled sanctuary, and they had a service where they invited all the folks from the city to be at that service. And Dr. Walter Johnson did, they had a great service, and he gave a great sermon that day. And one of the things he put up on the board was a quote by Booker T. Washington. And I want to make sure I get this right because it's a very important quote. It says, "There are two ways of exerting one's strength. One is pushing down, the other is pulling up. I do my best to pull up." Thank you.
Again, I'd just like to thank the library and everyone for coming out. Having never run for office before, having never done anything like this, it's an incredible learning experience. I'm so privileged to be part of a community that I can see my daughter and hopefully someday my grandkids growing up in, because it is such a special place. We have this crown jewels. We have Park Avenue, we have the lakes, we have the green space, we have Rollins. There are so many tremendous things, but the people of Winter Park are absolutely the best crown jewel that we have. And as I look back on this experience, and it has been an experience, I have had things said to me and about me that in 28 years of faithful service to our country, I never imagined could be said, based on no information other than an assumption. That's tough, but that's okay, because public service isn't always easy. What I go back to again is where I started. It's very simple. I served where the Navy chose for me to serve for 28 years. I came here, I fell in love with it. I knew this is where I wanted to serve. This is where I wanted to raise my daughter. I brought my mother down here because this is a special place. I have zero financial interest in doing this. None. I don't have any additional houses. I don't have any business partners. I don't work in any of the businesses that the city touches. My sole concern in this is making sure that my family has a safe and beautiful place to grow up, and that your families and your kids and your grandkids have that same opportunity. I think you have to look to a person's record and a person's history to know what they're going to do. I have supporters all over the United States. I have supporters all through this town because they know me, and they know I'm a person of integrity, and they know I do what I say I'm going to do, and that I'm an honest person. Thank you to all of you for allowing us to be a part of this process. It has truly been a learning experience.
And thank you all very much for showing your civic responsibility being here today. It's wonderful to see people take time out of their day to do the right thing and listen to the issues and get some answers. So thank you all very much for participating and having me back here at the library. I love it, and thank you all.